Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the December 12th, 2024 Board of Selectmen meeting. And as always, we will start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of November 26, 2024?
Lauren Rabin, I would like to propose an amendment to the meeting minutes just to reflect comments that were documented that Lucia Jansen made. And I have already sent the correction to Ken, but basically it is, I did find good news. I've conducted research on the grant involved associated with the program. This is for the food scraps section. From the Materials Management Infrastructure Grant through the CT Deep is available on a rolling basis through January 17th, 2025, giving us ample time to carefully refine the proposal and ensure all critical components are addressed. So if we amend the minutes, I would motion that we approve the minutes as amended.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second as amended.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you, Lauren. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of November 26, 2024?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. I think there was a double.
There should be two.
I'm already forgetting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the second special meeting of November 22nd, November 22nd, 6th, 2024?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Going on to the first Selectmen's updates, we are progressing with the interviews for the open position, soon-to-be open position of Commissioner of Public Works. We should have that wrapped up shortly, so be on the lookout for an announcement within the next few weeks. They went pretty well. Congratulations to Debbie Edwards for being the Employee of the Month. You'll see Debbie's picture out there in a few days. We congratulate her and look forward to many more years of good work from her. I want to thank Gavin and Olivia Spraker for taking time out of their schedules yesterday to deliver pet supplies and dog food to some really grateful residents in town. I was happy to join them for about an hour. They're young students here in town, and it was nice to see they do that for the animal sanctuary in Newtown. That was named after a little girl that was killed in 2012. So we want to thank them again and their mom for doing that yesterday. The GHS hockey opener is December 16th, Monday. So hope to see you guys there. I don't know, Joe, if you'll be there, but we'll I'll be there. Is our number one Islander fan going to be there? No, Andrew. We'll see. All right, a lot of hockey people here. December 18th, I'll be joining Santa and the Elves and the Grinch to deliver holiday cards to our first responders. That's on the 18th. The RFP submission deadline was pushed back to December 20th for the Havmar building. We should have some really pretty good, strong responses to that. That should be helpful to the Board of Education and to the 63,000 plus residents of Greenwich that would love to see that building returned to people and enhanced and fixed up. Good stuff there. The America 250 Connecticut Commission is meeting the Historical Society today. I think between 1 and 4, I'm going to stop by there. Also, we're going to be raising the National Guard flag tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It will be up all weekend here. And that's it. It's the shortest one I think I've had in a while. So I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, and a safe and successful, happy and healthy 2025. Thank you. Good morning, Laura. Good afternoon, Laura. Not good morning.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be brief as well. What a difference a day makes. Yesterday, rainy and balmy, to today, sunny and extremely cold. So we were at the Western Middle School field ribbon cutting. The field looks fantastic. It's just really going to be a nice addition to the western end of town. We have the pool, we have the new lab, we have a new skating rink, west side, best side. That's all I'll say there. So yeah, lots of celebrations and events, and I hope to see people at various ones, and just wishing everybody a very happy and safe holiday season.
Thank you. Yes, and I got there a little bit late today. I was in New York, but it is our first public sports complex, really. And it's long overdue. The kids over there suffered enough. They didn't have any sports there for many years. But it's something that the whole town can be proud of. If you haven't been over to Western, go take a look at it. It's hard to believe all the hours we spent on that field in the last 4+ decades to see what it is today. And it's something nice that Greenwich can be proud of. And there's more to come. So thank you. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning. So I too just want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. And I look forward to wishing everyone a happy 2025 when we come back to meet in the new year.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, old business. The first item is the request for the approval of the intersection modifications at Valley Road and River Road and Schofield Street. Michael Kiselak is here, our DPW civil engineer. Good morning, Michael.
Hi again, we're back. So yeah, just to recap, I know we've talked about this a few times, but we're proposing to implement all-way stop control at the intersection of Valley River Road Extension and Schofield. And we know there have been some questions and concerns about this. So I just want to run through the other things we have looked at, the other alternatives, so everybody knows we have, looked into things. And the all-way stop is still what we think for now is the best solution to try and see if it works and evaluate as we go. At the last meeting, the suggestion about pedestrian hybrid beacons was brought up by a resident, which are the lights, the pedestrian lights like they have in Stamford. We don't have any here, but it's a traffic signal that's sort of geared towards pedestrians. So we did look into that, and the federal highway guidelines on those, they call for restricting parking in 100 feet in advance. So if we were going to install those in accordance with the guidelines, that we would actually have bigger parking impacts than what we're proposing for the all-way stop. Plus, it wouldn't do anything to address the vehicle-to-vehicle conflicts. It would just help pedestrians. So we looked at that, and they're also very expensive. So typically, you would try a lesser approach first before you spend $200,000 on something that is probably not going to come out once it's gone in. So we've also looked at full traffic signals. Those are not warranted yet. Typically, again, we would try all-way stop before we go to that. It's something we can look at after all-way stop if that's not effective. So the RRFBs are another thing, and we feel like to get those into a good place where everybody would be able to see them. Again, we're going to have parking impacts for that, and we would probably need some sort of curb extensions or geometric changes to get them somewhere that they can be visible. So again, that wouldn't solve vehicle conflicts either. That would just be a pedestrian fix. And then geometric changes, if we're doing anything that would affect the deli on the corner, since their parking lot goes right up to the intersection. So that would be a pretty significant change potentially to the private property. The right-of-way is a bit complicated, so we didn't want to go too far down that path if we don't need to. We also looked at three-way stop instead of four-way stop, but we don't feel like that would address some of the sightline concerns off the side streets and might just end up being a little bit more confusing. So we would recommend the four-way stop over the three-way. And then we also talked about one-way restrictions, just to kind of maybe take away some of the conflicts. But given that River Road Extension connects directly to the post road, and there's not really another good way for trucks to get around, we feel like that might be pretty disruptive to the overall neighborhood. So we didn't want to go forward with that any further. So yeah, we're still recommending always stop. So if there's any other questions on that, happy to take that.
Sure, thank you, Michael. Do we have a three-way stop anywhere else in Greenwich? A three-way stop?
There are, I'm not gonna probably be able to think of any off the top of my head. I believe there are, but I can't.
Well, I think there's one on Orchard and Valley, right down the road from that, that's a three-way. But I guess what I'm asking is, the concern seems to be with a four-way stop sign, or at least my concern, there's other concern. My main concern is, when it could be slippery if somebody's coming down. Again, they shouldn't be speeding, right? And we know they have to slow them down. A stop sign, a light would probably have the same problem, right? They're still gonna have to stop. And I see, as I mentioned in the last meeting, I saw 3 cars speed right in front of me and one near accident because of people speeding going down, going down that hill. But if you left that open, right, to maybe just do some flashing lights there and had a 3-way stop sign at the other places, could we try something like that, which could, as you said, crawl before you could walk? You don't want to
Yeah.
put a $200,000, solution there before trying something else, and waste the taxpayers' money either. So could we think about something like that?
So yeah, with the 3-way stop, I think what we're, just to make sure we're on the same page, that would be stop signs on the side streets plus the one direction if you're coming from like Palmer Hill, but not the downhill, right?
But to slow them down, but to still try and slow them down coming down that hill, because that's the main problem. It's a little bit worse than the other way, but they're both a problem.
Yeah.
But maybe some flashing lights to try and stop them down, slow them down a little bit, but keep, have the other 3. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, so the issue that we see with the downhill approach is if you're coming off of River Road Extension, that's where the poor sight lines are. So somebody who's trying to pull out next to the deli on, maybe they're trying to take a turn to go uphill, they have poor sight lines between them and the car coming downhill. So that is where we've seen some conflicts. So having the car coming down the hill have a stop sign, that would help alleviate that.
Would there be something to improve that sight line?
There are utilities and some, I think some private vegetation in the way. So there's definitely some obstructions, but we can, with all the stop signs, one thing I didn't mention is that we've talked about having LED flashing stop signs, which would be more of an emphasis to help get drivers' attention. So if they are coming downhill, that they will have that extra warning to slow down and stop at the bottom.
Okay, thank you. And I know lots of people have been emailing suggestions, which we're very grateful for. A lot of them, obviously, when we check with you, sometimes there's state regs, there's federal regs that would make the situation probably worse and clear out some more parking that we don't want to take away. But we're still looking at it. There was one that came in that I thought was certainly worth looking at a little bit more, which is the surface, the traction, extra traction, the surface that provides extra traction. And I know you wouldn't be able to do that until the spring anyway, if that was something that we wanted to do. So I want to tell the public, we continue to look at this. Something will get done, right? Whether it's a 4-way stop sign or something similar, something's going to get done. But as you can see, this board is really, really trying hard, and DPW is really trying hard. Deputy Chief Bonnie has been very helpful in looking into it now, trying really hard. So usually we do 2 reads and then we'll vote on something. This is probably like our 5th or 6th read, so we're taking it seriously. So we're trying, again, we will get something done. But in the meantime, because I don't think we're ready to vote today on something, as we're looking at other possible alternatives. But is there something we can do in the meantime with some flashing lights just to get us there to, the maybe 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it is that we may need? Is there something we could do temporarily? That's my concern. I don't want to keep pushing this off and then have somebody get killed. And people say, you did this all for 2 parking spaces.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at enhancing the signage that's already out there with LED or things like that. It's not, again, that's not something we have in town right now. It's something that would be a first for us. They are available, solar panels, so we could try that and see if people like them and respond to them. That's something. The friction treatment that, it was forwarded to us by you or Kent, I don't remember, that somebody has seen in Stamford. That's not something we have in town either. I think it's sort of an upkeep issue. We don't know how long there's different products out there, and the longevity of those is sometimes an issue. It's something, obviously they have it in Stamford. We're happy to look into it. If we do continue to see issues with people not being able to stop on the downhill, we can evaluate it. But yeah, it's not something we have right now, a product that we use and could go out and apply right away.
Yeah, and I know when I was in the legislature, whenever I wanted to put a bill in, I would contact national conference state legislatures and I'd say, hey, has this idea been done in any of the other 49 states? And sometimes you'd be shocked. Something comes back and wow, I never thought of that. And there's a blueprint there, and I would insert it into the bill. Maybe we could also look to NCSL. I can reach out to them. We have CCM here, Conference of Municipalities in Connecticut, that do that for the 169 municipalities. We reach out to them all the time. So maybe there's some other things as we go forward. We're going to get there. I just want to make sure we're as thorough as we can be. And if we can get some signage up there temporarily that would enhance it, that would be terrific.
Yeah, we can try to take a look at that.
Michael, thank you.
Isn't that surfacey treatment, that's what's on the Merit, right? That Livy Florin helped get.
Yeah, they do have some on the Merit, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the state has a product that they use. Again, I don't know what the longevity or the maintenance is, or if our crews would be equipped to maintain that like the state is. So we'd have to look into it.
Okay, good recall. Okay, well, we don't have any more.
Couple speakers signed up on
Sure.
this. Rick Novakowski?
I think Mr. Novakowski is very familiar with this area.
I worked there in that deli 45 years ago.
I remember going in there when you worked there. You remember you helping people across the street too? I did not do that. Strike that from the record.
Absolutely. I don't think your mic is on either.
Everybody can hear me, right? So to be clear, what the proposal is now is a four-way stop temporarily. We're going to see how it works. I'm just
Yeah, so that would, yeah, that's what's there now, but we're not doing, we're postponing it to see all these other ideas that are coming in and seeing if there's any other, we talked about before, maybe a three-way stop sign with some lights coming from down the hill, and if the sight line is the issue there coming out from River Road, is there any, the vegetation on private, the vegetation, could we get that out of there? If utility companies are involved, we would reach out to. There's a lot, I think there's some more things there we can look at, but I know you've been really good about offering some things, and everything that gets offered, we will look at.
Well, yeah, the sight line coming and looking left up Valley Road is always going to be, I mean, you got to get way out there before you see anything. But listen, I think the interest obviously is probably safety first, but certainly the businesses, right? Concern for the businesses and being sure that they can, and a deli at lunchtime, breakfast time, they're going to use all their spots and everything else. They're going to need everything they can. They only need 10, 15 minutes. That I understand as far as parking, so you don't need all day. But they need as many as they can in addition to their parking lot. Has it been discussed? I think that where the crosswalk is right now, you're right at Schofield Street, you're at the bottom of Valley Road, you're at River Road. You're actually, the crosswalk is literally where all these three streets intertwine. What if you took the crosswalk and put it further down Valley Road toward Palmer Hill that way? I'm talking 25 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, as far as you want. People can walk out, say they came out of the pet grooming store, then they could just make a left, not the pet, I'm thinking about going to the deli. So if you parked closer to where St. Lawrence Club is, you can then get out, go left, and then go down. At least in that case, you don't have three streets a pedestrian has to look there, the cars have to look for the pedestrian. If it was further down, there's only cars coming one way and cars coming the other. Pedestrians would not be affected as far as their safety goes with 3 streets that are all crossing at the same time. The other thing is, what about a bump coming down Valley Road? Because I know that you're concerned about the speeding. What about a speed bump on Valley Road?
So to your first point, I think you're absolutely right. It would take the people away from where the congestion is and where a lot of
Because
the,
that's the one spot that's probably the worst spot to have the crosswalk
yeah.
because of that.
And I know the engineers at DPW said that when you move that crosswalk, there'll be no parking spaces within 25 feet of it. So we would lose anything within 25 feet if you moved it down. Now, I don't know how many are in front of where, the past where Frank Canavero is, but those other houses there.
Right.
I don't know how many are there, but we would probably lose all of those. And that's, again, we're trying not to,
You'd lose some.
yeah,
That's residential.
yeah,
People work during the day.
away from the business.
The businesses need these spots prior to 5 PM, 6 PM. If you live down there and you didn't have the spots during the day, then you'd have those extra spots after 5 o'clock at night when the deli's closed,
So we're going to follow up on that one too.
right?
You make good sense.
And
Good.
tell my wife that.
No, Ricky was even as a young man, there was instrumental in that area. There was some street lights that used to get out all the time. You were always calling the authorities on that. So I remember you.
John Law was there.
Yeah, John
time or two.
Law.
Yeah, absolutely, Fred.
He was good. Anyway, no, that's actually so something. And what was the second one? I forgot.
Well, the main,
Oh, the bump,
the speed bump coming down Valley Road.
So usually emergency vehicles, the emergency operating units, they, fire department, GEMS, they don't like it because it slows them down. But I mean, could we do something, or because of the fact that we are trying for that one spot to slow them down? We can certainly ask the question.
Yeah, we agree that is
Yeah.
that's where they're speeding, coming over Valley and then coming down.
Yeah, no, all right. Those are two good suggestions. We'll follow up.
Thank
So
you.
I was going to say Michael Kiselak is in the room.
Yes, okay. Thanks, Ricky. Thanks, Michael.
Hi, so that's another thing we looked at back, a couple weeks or months ago on is there another place for that crosswalk to go? There's a few things. I think that crosswalk was put there because that's where somebody was hit before there was a crosswalk, and that's where just people naturally want to cross. So it makes sense to have the safest crossing if that's where they're going to be crossing anyway. Try to enhance that and make that as safe as possible. They're probably not going to walk 50, 100, 100 feet, 100 yards out of their way to cross up the street, especially if they want to go to the deli that's right there. And then we also just had trouble finding a place to put it because of all the driveways and things that are in the way. So you don't want to have a crosswalk that's bringing somebody directly into a driveway. And so the way the driveways were offset, we looked up, the road gets a little bit narrower, maybe 100 or so feet up, and we looked everywhere between that if we could find another place. And the way the driveways are, we weren't able to find another spot for that crosswalk. And it's also, mid-block crosswalks are also discouraged because drivers don't expect them. They're driving at, a normal rate of speed, and it's something that, it's more expected to be at an intersection where there might be other, movements going on, and they're not, mid-block, you're not necessarily looking for a pedestrian to walk out in front of you. So they're discouraged unless there's no other alternative. So.
Thank you. And then to Ricky's second point about the speed bumps, it's kind of doing the same thing as the friction surfaces would do, right? If we can get maybe Chief McHugh and the people over at GEMS to take a look at that and see, because again, it's one spot, right? It's not going to be slowing them down anywhere else, but even for their own safety, right?
Yeah.
Even if they're going to respond to an emergency, right?
Yeah, we can certainly ask the fire department. I know it's a pretty major road, and they're pretty.
I know usually
adamant.
they don't do it.
They don't really go for things on arterials and major roads.
What are they? Instead of a bump, is it called like a speed table where it's like a longer, it's not raised as high and it's longer? Is that what the thing is called, like a speed table or something?
Yeah, or a
Speed
raised
grid?
intersection, things like that. It's a similar concept to a speed hump. But yeah, I think it would be a similar concern with the fire department as far as emergency vehicles, yeah. And then also going downhill, I think typically you have to be careful with speed humps, because again, people aren't necessarily expecting them there. It's harder to slow down when you get to them. So I think that's, not that we have many in town, but I think that's typically the guidance.
Okay.
But yeah, we could talk to the fire department about it and see.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Megan Cutler?
Yes, Ricky, for a second time.
Rick, if you could talk to the microphone, please.
Thinks he's back in
The
Costco.
answer was that that people are still gonna cross further down, where that is, even though it was moved down. They're not supposed to. That's why the crosswalk is there. I mean, I could do irresponsible things and put myself in danger. That doesn't, it's still my personal responsibility. So cross at the crosswalk. If you get people, if they do it, it's their own risk. So, I mean, I think that, to say that because the crosswalk is over there, they're still gonna cross here because that's where they want to. Well, there's a place to cross. There's one by Dunkin' Donuts on the Post Road. So I'm not supposed to cross at the gas station. I'm supposed to cross where the crosswalk is. So, I mean, I don't see that argument. And I'm gonna tell you, when you do this four-way stop, you're gonna have a cluster. You're gonna have stopped traffic. It's gonna be a nightmare. We'll see, but that's what's gonna
Yeah, and I think Michael's point about they do put crosswalks in intersections because people are expecting them there, right? So, I mean, people are going around, going 35 miles an hour. They're not usually expecting. So that point I do see. Your point I see about, you go where the crosswalk is and you don't ignore. But they're going, I think, you usually don't see crosswalks in the middle of a road.
We're here because we deemed it necessary because there's
Yeah.
a danger.
Yeah.
And the danger is that all of those streets are intertwined, and there's a lot of action going on over there.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense to have it in another spot. Where,
Thank you, Ricky.
Ms. Cutler? As long as, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Megan Cutler. I've been a resident of Greenwich my whole life, born and raised. My grandparents live in Costco, so I'm familiar with the area, and I do errands for my grandma. Pardon my nerves, I am not used to public speaking.
It's an easy crowd here.
Yeah. So I just want to say that, so speeding and line of sight are the two issues here, right? Okay. So I think I don't have much to say about long-term solutions, but I think definitely it is important to implement a short-term or temporary solution. I do feel like we could benefit from a speed radar sign, whether it flashes when you're speeding or something like that, because I feel like a big problem is a lot of people are not aware of their speed because Valley Road is a connecting road. So to bring more awareness to those speeding, I mean, I'm even guilty of myself, when I have my, destination set, I'm just, going. So it could be very helpful to have some sort of radar sign.
Yeah, they absolutely do work. We have, I don't know how many we have in town, but I put something in the budget last year and it got knocked out. They work while they're there. They absolutely do.
Right.
We have to keep moving them around every few weeks to other trouble spots. So that's the problem. They do work while they're there. The minute you take it away, they return to their bad habits again. So
But we have permanent ones in places.
you have some.
On Glenville Road.
Near schools.
Yeah.
Well, that's a state law.
So, I mean, but permanent ones exist is what I'm trying to say. It's
Yeah.
our choice to make them temporary.
Yeah, I don't know as far as we have to, that's the thing is, the school zones, because people have requested them in other places. Maybe we could look at something like that. I don't know. I know there's always a federal or state reg that's always getting in the way and telling us we can't do it. But I know the school zones, that's a state law.
Yeah, so like you said, we have them in school zones. We have a couple portable ones that we got through a grant. There was one right up on Valley maybe a year or two ago at Leah Fail. And we typically move them every 6 months because that was the way the grant was set up. It was a Yukon thing. And then we did put in a budget request last year for additional ones and it got, so it's a money thing.
But
They
I
cost money.
think the police have those other ones that are, I don't know how many.
Those are battery powered and I think they last about a week. on a battery charge. The ones DPW has their solar, so they can
Well,
continue
I think Megan's
operating.
point
So
is
it's
a
point.
good one, though, because people do see that, it's flashing, you're going, and people subconsciously, they'll say, oh my God, I am speeding. So, and if we have to put more in the budget, I'll certainly fight for that if you want to put some more in there, but,
How
yeah,
much,
you
how
know,
much money are we
I-
talking about?
Well, yeah, well, and the other one was like 50,000, I think, right, Chief? Those portable ones?
It depends, if you want the permanent ones, which,
Yes, please.
yeah, I just happen to be, I'm in charge of, traffic division and animal control also, so if you're looking for a kitten for Christmas, we have a lot of kittens.
No
that we're
feral
trying to
cats,
get rid of.
please.
No, I'm just doing a sales pitch. So we currently have, like you said, rechargeable signs, but about 6 or 8 years ago, the town got a grant and they put those permanent signs in front of the schools, and that was all paid for by grant. Now, you can put them anywhere you want if you want to pay for them. And I don't think that this would be a bad idea to have. I would strongly suggest that we don't put a bump, because we're gonna lose motorcycles at night with a bump. And people are gonna get hurt. So I think that's kind of dangerous, so I would say not to do that. I'm supposed to be here to talk about changing the parking times and the parking spots. We're gonna suspend that
Yes.
till you guys are ready.
Yeah, but
So-
do you have any idea how much one of those permanent flashing?
We have never done a permanent one. The only one that have done it is traffic engineering like 6 years ago. And they had a grant for it, so it should be on a state, there should be a state
Well, I'm
fund
putting
for that.
something in the budget again for a consultant for a grant writer, so that would be maybe one of the things, if we can
Yeah,
get that
yeah.
passed,
But
that
I
we
mean,
can
I think in
have
the
them look at.
meantime, if they had a solar panel one that works for 6 months, that would be a great idea. Because there's nothing that I have that would last more than a week.
Okay,
So that would be my
so this is
suggestion.
I like this idea, and then we could work towards maybe getting a permanent one there. But in the meantime, I'm just worried about the stopgap, connecting us to the permanent solution.
Right, right.
In the next few months. Okay.
Right, but as a holdover, that would be good. Because
Yeah.
it's gonna take time to do whatever we choose to do anyway.
right.
And if you wanna slow people down, they do work.
Perfect, okay.
And we have about a dozen kittens, if you were interested. Okay, thank you.
Just no more ordinances, please. Thank you, Chief.
Well, I'm just going to repeat my father-in-law's joke, which is, $50,000 is a bargain at twice the price when you compare it to an accident.
Yes, no, 100%. So, thank you, thank you, so,
We have Vin DeMarco online who'd like to speak.
thank you. Hello, Vin.
Yeah, Vin, you're all set.
Hi, can you hear me?
We
Yes, we
can hear
can.
you, Vin. How are you?
You can, okay. Thank you for taking it. Yeah, I mean, looking for temporary solutions, working towards a permanent solution, I think is great, especially if these temporary solutions could actually mean that parking spaces are not taken away from the businesses. I think it seems to me from all I read and heard that the residents as well as the businesses are sort of in lockstep regarding the parking situation. So I have a suggestion for the neighborhood there, businesses as well as residents. Just the fact that you're on your fourth or fifth read kind of speaks to maybe this is a bigger problem than just the surface traffic engineering fixes. So my suggestion would be that the community there, the neighborhood businesses and residents, consider putting together a business improvement district. It would be a small organization, obviously, but they all have an interest in this, and possibly look at some other solutions that would take care of the parking situation, such as looking in that direct, in close proximity to the businesses, looking at where a parking facility or a lot could actually be created there. And that might allow the parking spots that would create safety for pedestrians and cyclists to be taken away.
Yeah,
So just a
Vin,
thought.
yeah, no, thank you. We have looked into that. And here's the thing with that area. If today you wanted to put those businesses there, they wouldn't allow them, right? They're grandfathered in. It's a residential neighborhood. Years ago, if you want to even go back, 60 years ago, there was a gas station there. There were grocery stores there. But today, to set up a business, you need to be required, whether it's a doctor's office or a deli, you have to have required parking spaces. None of these businesses would be there. We've looked at, what can you buy? You'd have to purchase land and then get it rezoned for parking, and no one's selling right now. I know where Marzullo's was over there. The new owner's going to be doing something there because he said he can't allow any parking there in the near future. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one there. But what we're doing is we're trying our best to not only save these businesses, but to promote them and make, because years ago, right, people used to walk to those businesses, right? They got a lot of foot traffic from, the deli, B&B Deli and other ones, and the grocery stores that were there. But, now people travel, not everybody walks, and a lot of people go that use their car. So it's not, unfortunately, there's not really a parking solution there. We just have to try and work around that.
Okay, well, I would just hope that is considered, that the community would talk to each other, talk to the residents, talk to the businesses, and see whether there's any possibilities. Perhaps that landowner, property owner that's going to be developing would be interested in that. Or maybe the St. Lawrence Club could deck over their lot or something. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's a bigger problem than just taking a few parking spaces away. And the point about people not walking in that neighborhood anymore, I thought that's what we were working towards.
No, you misunderstood me. Years ago, when we were growing up there and before we were there, those businesses, most of the traffic came by foot. That's not the case anymore. And again, I repeat, those businesses wouldn't even be allowed to open up today because this doesn't have the required parking. So I don't think anybody's going to be selling us land. And certainly to double deck the back of St. Lawrence, you'd have every neighbor in that area coming out against that. That's just a non-starter. So I mean, we want to deal with reality and what would actually work. And the neighbors are talking, and the businesses are talking. In fact, they're talking to people in this room, and there's some business owners in it right now, and they're doing a great job at talking to each other. That's the reason why we're at a 5th or 6th read, is because not only do we want to do the right thing, but they've been giving us constantly giving us other ideas to contemplate. So no, they're with you, Vin. I mean, they're on the same page as you. They're already doing what you suggest, which is what they should do.
Great. Glad to hear that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Vin. Anybody else? Oh, John. Good afternoon, John. Good to see you.
How are you guys doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you. In the vein of a picture. Yeah, sure. Jonathan Baxendale, owner of 78 Valley Road and Back Cycles. Kirsten cleverly took a picture. She can't be here now because she's working. It's lunch hour and she's crazy busy. But she and I have been talking over and over again.
Probably not,
And we don't,
most likely.
I guess when you talk about,
If I need anything, I'll call you.
Can you please mute yourself, please? Thank you.
but how it lays out with DPW and 3 spaces being removed, how it actually is in real life. This is how it actually is in real life. I'll leave this with you guys. It's just a photo.
Thank you.
But if you look, there's 2 spots on there in front of the groomers, and then there's a spot adjacent to the crosswalk, there's another spot, and then spots in front of the St. Lawrence Club. I can tell you, under the new plan, practically speaking, that's what's happening today. So whether they're grandfathered, whether they're legal, whether it's not legal, there's 0 no parking signs in any of those areas. So whether they're grandfathered or not. Practically speaking, there's 7 cars in that picture for the area we're talking about. Those go away entirely when the new sign goes up and everything else, because we'll realize there's a fire hydrant, we'll realize that you have to have 10 feet of, I think it's 10 feet from either side of a fire hydrant, so you can't park there. So all those spaces will go away. So when we keep throwing our hands up saying parking, parking, that's what we're talking about, not just 3 spaces. So just, you know.
Yeah,
so-
they've moved, I think, Jim's not here, but they'd moved some of the spaces down a little bit. There is one where the fire hydrant's way back there, but again, I think they can get to that. But as Michael said, even if this wasn't being proposed, they would probably be coming to us to eliminate that because it's just not done now. As you know, as I mentioned, we got the grant to do the corridor project in Glenville that we worked on since 2020, and it's going to happen. And the state would not give us the money, wouldn't do the project if where Frankie's Pizzeria is, right, Glenville Pizza. We all pulled in there for years to get a slice. A little dangerous, but it always worked. And they said that they have to come out. But we argued from this podium that would really hurt. His business really is pull in, pull out, right? They're not going there to have 3-course meal. They're actually going there to get their slices. So we ended up, in that case, there was some spaces down a few feet on the same side. And we actually added one. We gave him 3. So Frank was really happy with that because the others, if they had to cross the street, he may not have gotten, it may have affected his business a little bit. But they had some spaces there. This is a really tough one. Not only is the intersection not lining up, but we're going to do all we can to save as many spaces as possible, but also to address the safety issue and the sightline issue. But yeah, it's a good visual. Kirsten's she's always doing her work there and sending these things, and they're very helpful.
Yeah, she is. And then secondly, and this may be more process-oriented and my lack of understanding, but the town is funding this project, correct? So the guidelines we hear from National Highway Transportation and state and everything else, those, my understanding, those are guidelines, right? They're not laws?
No, we can't. There's some things we can't do.
Okay.
Like we can't start sticking lights all over the place. They were like if you want to do a speed limit change, they require us to do a traffic study there, and then it gets a little complicated because I remember about 5 years ago we were looking at Mallard Drive, same thing, and yeah, we have to follow those state regs,
Okay.
and sometimes federal ones too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like to me, it comes back to solutions and then looking at regulations, and it's complicated and everything else, which is fair. But if you look at the why, it's always good to look at the why, right? So we're talking about, as the woman earlier identified, we're talking about slowing traffic and keeping pedestrians safe, right? So crosswalk and slowing speed. Most of the solutions that are not four-way stop associated, and even the four-way stop to some degree, removing the spaces, even if it's a state guideline, has to do with sight lines more than anything else, because you've got a lane of traffic of a breakdown lane, if you want to call it that, 'cause it's no longer parking. If stop signs were not all the way at the curb, if they were in the center of the road, if they were out a little bit, not that you're going to create, butt outs to do this, but if it has to do with sight line and that's the overall reason for the law, is there a way around that, or having creative thinking as far as where things are placed instead of just saying, oh, they go here and that's the guideline and that's how we do it?
You
So-
bring up a good point. I mean, normally when you put cars parked on the side of the road, it makes the road less wide. So it's just, that does slow cars down. When there's a wider road, people tend to speed more. So you're right. So this is really a sightline thing. It's a two-tier problem and solution we're looking for is slow them down and keep the pedestrians safe. And the sightline is huge. So we're doubling and tripling looking at all of these things. And sometimes, as Michael could tell you, we've been told no, and then Michael said, well, okay, we'll take another look at it, and they go another direction. So the town's really, really working hard on this, and with your help and everybody's help. So we'll get there.
All right, that's it.
Thanks, John.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question about the space in front of the hydrant? Because, I mean, clearly we're waiting to vote, right, but we're waiting to vote on this until, we've really marinated on all of the different options, and therefore we're not going to vote on the parking agenda item because it's part of the package. But there's nothing to negotiate about the hydrant space, right? That is not a legal space, no matter what. Does it need to be striped differently so that people understand that they can't park there?
Yeah, that one's, the issue with that is it's off the road, so, you know, and I'm guilty. I've parked in front of that dozens of times and not even known it was there. It's right near Frank Canavero's house between there and
Right.
the St. Lawrence Club. But I don't know, Chief, have we looked into, yeah. It's something
I'm just wondering, because that's not negotiable. Like, that's something that we have to take away no matter what. And I'm just wondering if we can tell DPW now, stripe it so that people know not to park there.
Yeah, and also what happened last night in Kirsten was great to take a picture. The leaves for the week or two they were out there covered it, so there was no way no one could even see it.
Yeah, so there are probably a lot of fire hydrants out there that aren't striped and marked. So the way it works today is that if somebody does park there, it's just a liability on them if there were ever an emergency. And that would be the same in the future. We don't have any plans to stripe it, and we can't get up here and tell you to park there, but it's really just if there ever was an emergency and somebody were parked in front of it,
Gotcha.
now or in the future, it would be the same liability. So we're not proposing to do anything different to that 20 feet of space, but we can't get up here and tell people to park. We can't promote people parking in front of the fire hydrant, but
No,
we're
no,
not
no.
changing anything in front of it at all. But we can talk about striping it, but there are probably lots of them that are not
Yeah.
all around town. It's kind of hard to keep up with, but we can talk about it. So that's all.
Thank you.
I think Megan wanted-
Megan?
Okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. This might be far out, but maybe not. So I'm looking at the map. In relation to parking, what if the town.
We.
We make the River Road extension a one-way,
Had that idea.
add parking spaces there to make up for the loss. Because there's Nassau Place, you can turn right on Nassau Place and then right on Valley. And that also helps the line of sight issue from Valley or River Road extension.
I had that idea too. I thought about that, and I think it was trucks can't go on Nassau.
Oh, right.
And we made that one way now
Okay.
too. That used to be two ways.
Scratch that. Sorry, I didn't have the mic on.
No.
But
That's okay.
It was a
okay.
good
That's okay.
idea. I had it too.
Yeah, but
Thank
my,
you.
With the people here, so, as you can see, there's no perfect solution, but,
And there isn't even a good enough solution.
no, but we'll get there. But we'll move on to the next item. Thank you very much, everybody, for those suggestions. Next up is the amendment to Traffic Ordinance Schedule 1, Parking Prohibited, and Schedule 2B, 15-minute parking and time, so that's not gonna
Happen.
not gonna happen. Next up is, thank you, Chief, presentation and discussion of the proposed Parks and Recreation fees for the 2025 year. Joe Siciliano and Dan Carlson. Dan Carlson and Joe Siciliano.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So just a quick recap here. This is the second read for our fee policy schedule. This is something that we do every year. Our first read was November 26th, and on that same day, we published the fee schedule on our website, encouraging residents to review them thoroughly, provide any feedback that they would like, whether positive or negative. We did not hear any feedback, either verbally, email, phone call, no feedback there. So as I said, we're at the second read, so we just wanted to reach out to see if there's any additional comments from the Board of Selectmen as well, so.
Nothing negative.
Yeah, no feedback that would impact our vote today.
same, no feedback.
Well, thank you.
Thank you
Good
very
job,
much.
as always.
Yes, I'm just about to do that. Lauren Raven, I motion that we approve the proposed parks and recreation fees for 2025.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
great,
Dan.
thank you very much, and thank you to all of our staff for taking the time to put this together. There's a lot of work that goes into it, so.
Yes.
All right, have a great
Thank them
afternoon.
for us, please. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Next up is a request, a second read for Chabad of Greenwich for a road closure on Greenwich Avenue and Arch Street for January 1st, and the menorah lighting. And Shara's here, waiting patiently. How you doing, Shara? Good, how are you?
I didn't expect it. I thought that. Zoom. Sorry?
Get a Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay, fine.
Just make sure the green button, the green light's on.
Big me to raise my voice, so it's good. We are hoping to have the road closure, the right side of Arch Street, right side of Greenwich Avenue on Arch Street up till Bowling Place, and left side going on Greenwich Avenue, the right lane closed for our January 1st Chabad Hanukkah menorah lighting. All of the forms are in to Andrew. The only thing that we've been held up on is insurance. Our COI didn't come through yet, even though it was supposed to be in today. And then I just learned that the performer needed one also, so we're working on that in real time right now. So I was wondering if we could have approval for road closures as long as the permit is issued in time for the event, which is something we did last year, so
Okay.
kind of like changing, I guess, what the request would be,
Yeah, so dependent upon, just waiting for,
dependent upon the permit approval.
okay, yeah, and I haven't heard, I had one person, RTM member, call me today that had a concern, but I did call him. He emailed and I called him back. I think he emailed all of us. And I explained to him that it was a legitimate concern, but I explained to him we've done this for 5 years and that lots of members of the community, not just Jewish members of the community, but other people who belong to different religions enjoy it.
Is it a concern that we can like help address or help make better, or?
It was just a general concern.
Because if it is, we're always.
The vision of Greenwich United Way is to ensure that every member of our community has the opportunity to be healthy, educated, and self-sufficient. Today's legislative breakfast allows for our elected officials to share their work and what they're doing in Greenwich as it relates to human services needs. As you may notice from the 149th district.
I felt like the traffic flow worked out well last year with this new plan that instead of closing down a lot more, I felt like the left lane being open to traffic on Greenwich Avenue worked pretty well. It's also January 1st, so I think that the traffic won't be super heavy that evening anyway, so something that we had in mind.
And everybody else, the police have,
The police are very excited as always. Fire is on board, everyone else is on board.
okay, well,
We
okay.
have,
All right.
we have one person online who wishes to speak on this issue.
Sure.
Right.
Should I stay up here? Should I go sit?
Okay, Laureen, you can speak. Unmute, please. You're speaking on this topic, correct?
Yes, good afternoon. It's Laureen Taylor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can, Lori.
Oh, great. Yes, I have a few comments followed by 3 questions. Regarding the material in this meeting packet, it was found on page 109 of 135, the letter dated November 12, 24. The letter did not have a drawing of the site so the public knows the location of this event in relation to the World War I monument. The letter referenced the site is called Restoration Hardware Square, but there's a discrepancy in terms of whether the site is actually Veterans Plaza Park. And Veterans Plaza Park was described in Greenwich Patch article dated November 11, 2024. The article was entitled Greenwich Marks Veterans Day with Annual
Lorraine,
Patriotic Walk.
I want to stop you there. Is there a question here because we want to get to other
Yes.
items?
Well, I said I had a few comments and I will get to the questions. Thank you.
But please don't read the whole thing. We've been, this has been going on for 5
I wasn't
years.
planning to.
Okay, please get to your point.
The article referenced Veterans Park Plaza, which was dedicated in 1927. So my first question to you is which property record card pertains to this request for the Hanukkah Memorial Lighting event? That's my first question.
I don't understand. What are you asking?
The property record card that I received today
Yeah.
from the Town of Greenwich Assessor's Office is for parcel ID 01-4506/S. It's labeled lot number 1, Greenwich Avenue, legal acres 0.1026, DBA for doing business as War Memorial. So I'd like to know if this site for all events occurring in front of Restoration Hardware is considered the War Memorial and how that impacts events.
It does
And
not,
it-
it doesn't, yes, it's so that Veterans Plaza Park is that whole area there, which we plan to rededicate again in a few months. It doesn't impact anything. There's several people going there all day long, and we've had events there all the time. It doesn't impact anything. Everything is done with the utmost respect for those monuments there. That's why we're doing a rededication. That's why we want to put a statue of President Bush in there. So it doesn't impact anything. What's the second question?
Were veterans groups consulted as part of a stakeholder approval on other events occurring at the Veteran Plaza Park, which is
No,
also
we are
known
working
as
with-
Restoration Hardware
So
Square?
Lorraine, I reached out to the veterans when we had the idea, and I wanted to enhance the park and rededicate it, and then put a statue there. The veterans are all on board with that. The members, the veterans I've spoke to privately, and also some of the leaders there.
Excuse me, we're not talking about
Okay, all right,
the
listen.
potential
All right, Miss Taylor,
statue
Miss
for
Taylor, Miss
Bush.
Taylor, go, you had your answer, you've been answered. Do you have any more questions, or otherwise we're going to go on? Okay, thank you. We'll go on to the next one. Any other questions? We're ready to go.
Just just process-wise, so we'll condition our approval, because I don't want to, I'm anticipating that we will probably not be meeting the day after Christmas, so this would be our final vote, okay?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right.
So Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the request from Chabad of Greenwich for a road closure at Greenwich Avenue and Arch Street on January 1st for the menorah lighting, just conditioned on getting those final approvals.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank
Shara,
you.
thank you so much.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so
Take care.
much.
Be
Thanks
well.
for your patience.
Happy holidays. Okay, thank you, everybody. Next up is a consideration of the proposed 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting dates. And Ken Borsick.
Yep, same as last time. It's, these are dates that are all, as mentioned here, 10 a.m. in the meeting room, except when noted it'll be in the Cone Room. And if approved, we will publish this schedule on the website so the public can see it and post it with the town clerk.
Okay, thank you.
So Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the proposed 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting dates.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. And last up, under old business, is a request for the 2020, December 20, 2024 flag raising for the United States Space Force. Is David Wold with us?
Yeah, he is online. I have allowed his microphone to be used if he wishes to speak on this. David, you are muted, but if you wish to speak, you can.
Okay.
I guess we can just move on.
Okay, so we'll have a vote on this.
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the request to raise the United States Space Force flag on December 20th, 2024.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
And just another reminder for the person that requested this. When people request a flag to be flown, if we vote on and approve it, they are responsible for the arrangements of it and for bringing the flag. What happens, which always happened over the years, is some of the organizations or people will leave the flags with us, which is fine. But the town can't be responsible for always remembering, because we're starting to do a lot of flag raisings for everything. So every organization will send something a week or two before, hey, just, we'll be there to raise a flag and hopefully you can do a proclamation or whatever. And so it's almost a reminder for us. And so we do the proclamations, we help them promote the events and the flag raisings themselves. But this particular person that requested it in the past has disagreed with that. But again, we are not responsible for, bringing the flag and holding it and telling the public about it. That is really the responsibility of the many good folks here and good organizations that do the flag raising. So I just wanted to get that out there again. Going on to new business, we have a request for extension of the lease between the town of Greenwich and the Boys and Girls Club for 1 Horseneck Lane. And Christina should be with us. Megan? Okay.
Okay, Megan, you are good to go.
Yes, hi, hello, everyone. Thank you very much. This is
Megan.
Megan Sweeney, and I'm representing Christina today. She was not able to make it, so her apologies for that. But we have been so incredibly thankful to be able to use the space at 1 Horseneck Lane. And we are asking for our second, and what I believe is our final extension to use that space while we finish up renovation across the street at 4 Horseneck Lane.
Thanks, Megan. Yes, we understand this is the last final one, and we're happy you're getting towards the end there, so we will be ready to vote.
This
Yeah,
is the first,
and I know that
a
this is a
read?
first.
Oh, this is a first read. Okay, I'm
This is, I
sorry.
believe there is a
have-
timeliness factor here, though.
Oh, okay, and I just have a clarifying question, because it says this lease made on December 2022. Was that the original date?
Yes.
Okay, so this is an extension.
Yeah, and I think they are looking to
Yeah.
get an approval today.
Yeah, there's a time, I think we have to get in front of P and Z, if I'm not mistaken, and so there may be a time limit for that because our lease is up on January 31st. Ken, you would probably have a better handle on the schedule.
Yeah, you'd think
How that
so.
would all work out from a scheduling standpoint.
Well, the document that we're looking at says the term is January 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024. Refresh my memory, did we do anything in September?
Yeah, we've extended this a few times.
September of this year, which was like 3 months ago, so I'm forgetting what we did 3 months ago. Okay, thank you.
I've made a consistent joke about this site is the equivalent of the IKEA furniture, that it's just always useful. We can't seem to upgrade because it's just always useful.
Yeah, we're thankful that we've had it. We understand the reason why people want to move on, but it's been very helpful to the town and many organizations. Okay, yeah, well, if it's certainly time sensitive, we can move it forward.
Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the request for the extension of the lease between the town of Greenwich and the Boys and Girls Club of Greenwich for the building at 1 Horseneck Lane.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, and finally, under new business, a request to cancel the schedule.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Megan, I forgot you were there. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas,
thank you.
and tell everybody.
Same to you.
Tell everybody we said hello at the club.
I will. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Megan.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye. A request to cancel the scheduled BOS meeting for December 26, 2024. And that's Ken Borsick and
Yes, I don't believe any members of the board are slated to be here, but we have fulfilled our responsibility with one meeting this month under charter, and business is done for the year, I think, for us.
okay, and if there's something where we
Yeah,
have
we
to
can always
take it
hold a
up.
special meeting if
could
need to, but obviously fee
24
schedule and
hours
everything
notice.
else is approved, so.
Yes, exactly. Alrighty.
So Lauren Rabin, I motion that we approve the request to cancel the scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting that was scheduled for December 26, 2024.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, do we have any
Yes, we do.
nominations? Yeah.
Okay, we have 6. So would you like me to just read them all? Okay. So I have 6 to present to my colleagues. The first, Lauren Rabin, I motion that we nominate Ken Mifflin as a new member of the Alarm Appeals Board, position R4, with a term expiring June 30th, 2027. I motion that we appoint Evan Delman as a returning regular member of the Citizens Police Advisory Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. I motion that we appoint Sandy Kornberg as a returning member of the Citizens Police Advisory Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2027. I motion that we appoint Javier Elman as a returning member of the Energy Management Advisory Committee for a term expiring December 31st, 2028. I motion that we nominate Niles Penning as a new alternate member, position A2 of the Fair Rent Commission for a term expiring July 1, 2026. And finally, I motion that we nominate Gordon Herschelwood to move up as a regular member, position R2, to the Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Agency for a term expiring October 31st, 2028.
That was impressive, Lauren. Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
Thank you, Lauren. All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you. Thanks for all of the nominations throughout the year. That's a lot of work. All right. Thank you, everybody. Want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and a happy and healthy New Year. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, Ken.